Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Major LMB-01 lock mounting bracket with template and fasteners. So here's what you get in the package. You're going to get, of course, the business end, the mounting bracket itself, a pretty typical, common, straightforward piece of equipment. You're going to cut a preparation in the edge of the door. You're going to get this piece brought in. Because of the template, you'll know where to drill all of the holes, and in particular the rivets. And then it would just simply be a matter of getting this placed inside of the door and holding it in position so that you can then pop rivet it, and you're in really good shape. And repeat the process over on the other side. It's going to be made of a zinc-coated steel. Material thickness, 0.115, so almost an eighth of an inch thick, 0.115. The offset here, we can measure that as well. The offset's about 0.2, well, actually no, bear with me. One-eighth of an inch is the offset on that, which makes sense. A typical depth for a preparation would be 5/32 of an inch, so 150 thousandths. An H, a 1/8 is 125 thousandths. I'm using a caliper that's not hyper extreme. Plus, you're going to find that you will install this down to the inside thickness of the door, so that's going to give you a certain amount of thickness. So this depth most definitely needs to be less than 5/32. The offset of the plate, which I measured at about an eighth of an inch from here to here, needs to be, if it's a typical latch, 5/32 of an inch depth. If you're putting on a cylindrical lock, a deadbolt, typical material, that latch thickness is 5/32. A mortise lock would be a little bit thicker. It will be 5/32 less the thickness of the material that this is going to be attached under will equal that offset. And will it be, a little heavy, a little light, depends on the door, but this is going to be a real good position for you to get the item installed in. Generally that latch might need to be motivated to move in or out a little bit, but that's, this is a really great universal size. So you're going to get, as I had mentioned, the template that's going to come with it. You'll attach that to the edge of the door. And what the template is showing us is the 1 inch wide. They apparently don't tell us the height of what to prep. Yeah, it's 2 1/4. It's just not listed down there, unfortunately. It's a full-size template, so it's 2 1/4 tall, 1 inch wide, and then what you'll have, the 2 holes top and bottom, is what you're going to drill for the rivets that are included. And there are indeed rivets included, typical 1/8 inch pop rivets. Pop rivets are super easy. All you do is drill a hole, put the rivet into your tool. This part, the long part, will go into the tool. This will all go into the hole, and then you're just going to firmly grip that pop rivet handle, and you're going to pull this aluminum part out and crush this together, and it will allow that to stay in place. Pop riveting things onto steel doors, of course, would be a way that someone would do it in the field. A homeowner, if a homeowner was up for the challenge, a locksmith most definitely. Sometimes a shop setting would pop rivet something on. Generally in a shop setting you'd be welding the plate on, and you would still be drilling holes, but you would drill larger holes, bring the plate underneath the door, probably put a latch into it, and use the latch as a handle to hold that up tight, and then you would fill that with weld. You would plug weld it, is what you would do. That's most definitely what I would do. But in a pinch and you can't weld, you might have an application where welding's not allowed. You have a smoke detector 10 feet away from you. You're not going to introduce a welder or 1800 degree Fahrenheit into an application. So sometimes a pop rivet sort of attachment, it's purely mechanical. You could easily jigsaw cut the door, drill 4 holes in each corner, jigsaw all of that straight, use a die grinder, file, clean out the corners, a nice rectangle. The more you do that, the more expert you'll be at making it a perfect fit. And Major has other tools for helping us with that as well. That'll be a different video. And the people who are going to buy this, is they need to install a deadbolt into a client's door. And I need the deadbolt and I need the mounting hardware. Well, here's an option. Okay, pretty easy, simple, and straightforward. The other option that people do is drill a round hole in the edge of the door and use a drive-in face latch. That's an awful idea, only from the perspective that over time, that latch bolt is going to wear and ovalize the hole that it's sitting in. As you throw that bolt and then you're using the door, pushing on it in the latch position, it will create an oval preparation of the outside of that prep. So I would avoid doing that most definitely, but people do it in a pinch. But there are door constructions that really don't tolerate it, meaning if you've got a metal-clad door with extremely thin steel, that drive-in latch is not going to work very well because there's almost no margin between the latch falling in and the latch sticking out too far. So while you don't have to pop rivet this, if you don't like that concept, weld it. If you don't like that concept, drill and tap these holes to a 1224 or whatever size would work, and then countersink the edge of your door and then mechanically fasten it, however you like. But the pop rivets are the quick, fast, down and dirty, easy thing to do really, really quick. Don't quote me on 1224. I think the size for that is 13/16. 13? No. So sorry. No, there's no reason to guess about it. I can just tell you. If I was going to drill and tap for that, if I was going to do that, I have a handy chart. The 1224 I was thinking of 13/64 is what my brain was thinking. My mouth was saying something very different. Here we go. So the proper size for a 1224 would actually be a number 16 drill bit, which would be 0.177 is that diameter. This hole is 0.162. So you could drill that out with a number 16 wire size drill bit, then tap it 1224, then drill and countersink for 1224 flathead undercut head machine screws. That would be that'd be a snazzy way to go on that as well. So that would work. Otherwise, you're just going to pop rivet this. Simple, straightforward pop riveting. Okay. There's some supporting information. There's a link below this video. Let's switch to the screen view now and take a closer look. Okay, here's the item that we are indeed looking at. The LMB-01 for tubular latch in hollow metal door. The LMB-01 will make installing cylindrical knob locks or deadbolts on metal doors now faster and even easier than ever. The 01 mounting bracket is stamped from 12-gauge cold-rolled steel, installed with pop rivets for convenience, and supplied with an adhesive template for accuracy. The 01 mounting bracket is also cut into the center to allow installations on metal doors with a center seam. Now, that's a very interesting thing that they've done here, and that's this slot that's here. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. That construction is a hassle, and I'll explain. The template is marked for 1 inch and 1.125 wide faceplates. That's why the 2 vertical lines are there. As well as for bracket mounting holes and the center lines to locate the crossbore. The 01 is supplied complete with template and steel pop rivets. I said aluminum earlier. They are definitely... It's definitely steel. There's nothing aluminum about this, according to my magnet. Let me show you what that center seam means. Now, there are hollow metal door manufacturers that used to, and may still do, I can't tell you if anyone still does, I imagine someone does, but a steel door it's made of easy components. You've got the face of the door. There's a face of the door on the other side. Well, the way that they do that is there's different ways to do it, but one way that Amweld used to do was they would have a pan. They would then have another pan. 2 pans. This makes up 1 3/4. They put those together, but the pans really have these little bends to them so that the pans can sit on top of each other, and then they'll tack weld that seam on either side. Well, if you're prepping the edge of a door, you have no way to remove those overlapping portions of the pans. So this bracket is slotted to allow those 2 back-to-back pan features to fit inside of there. That's what it's for. Lots of manufacturers don't have that pan sort of construction at all. What would happen in the manufacturing process is this would be filled by a honeycomb or a foam core. So the pans, rest on this. They rest on this. It's all good. There's no problem. It's 1 3/4. This is all held on with adhesive. This is welded in here on the stiles, on the edges of the door where those pans come together. Maybe welded and bondoed, etc. Okay. Now, there's also a link below this video to the manufacturer's page, and I will navigate you there. You get to the manufacturer's page and then type in Major when you do a find function on your keyboard. Excuse me. On this page, you'll be able to review not only all of the Major products that we sell, but also, also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. And from here, you've got 100 plus pages of all things installation related from Major Manufacturing. Lots of material as it pertains to the locksmithing industry, installation aids, security hardware, things that you're going to use, whether you're a locksmith or not, to help assist you in getting the job done. We did just sell a client not very long ago, $1,200 worth of tools so that he could, he has wide style aluminum storefront doors. And the client needs to be able to prep the aluminum doors for Schlage L9000 series locks, typical mortise locks. He needs to be able to do the function holes, but also wants to do the edge of the door. So what we were able to sell him was a HIT 45 system where it clamps onto the edge of the door. I'm going to scroll past these parts, which are a different concept. Then onto the HIT 45, the hardware installation tool is what HIT stands for. Here we go. You're going to apply those plates that will screw to the face of the door to allow you to prep for your function holes, just like is shown here. Okay, but also he's going to be able to prep the edge of the door with an attached faceplate and prep that 8" by 1 1/4" edge as well. So what he needed was the hardware installation kit. He also needs the mounting brackets, the mounting tabs, which we sold him as well to get the lock body installed. And then he needs, of course, the plates for the function holes. And the client didn't have very many to do. He had 6. He didn't want to rely on someone laying out all these locations and dimensions by hand. Needed to be able to ritualize the process. And that's what these types of tools do. They allow you to ritualize the process, reducing, I should say, the potential for error. Okay, there's your HIT 45 aluminum door plates. Routes the 1 1/4 by 8" faceplate. You screw that, and then you're able to put your router in there with your router bit and make hay while the sun shines. Prep the edge of that aluminum door, which makes an awful sound. That's a racket when you're routing aluminum, but aluminum is easily cut with carbide tools, not a problem at all. This catalog is really full of installation tools. Some of it requires a little further explanation. There are even things here that I don't fully understand what the intent is from the original design, but the crew over at Major is pretty hands-on when it comes to explaining that material. Let's wrap up this video on camera. Now, if you're doing any sort of job, if you're doing work where you're installing material like this, you can make your own mounting plates. There's no doubt. You can get a piece of steel, you can put it into a vise, you can hammer on it, bend it, torque it, whatever you'd like to do. You can then drill and tap it, and you can do all of that. And it's not hard to do, but you're going to spend a fortune in time making those. Believe me, well, believe me or not, I've done it myself. For what this costs, you never want to have to make one of your own. But you can do it. It's not going to be the right offset because you're hammering on a vise. You know, there's other ways to do it as well if you have the right thicknesses of material. But generally, people are going to order this with a lock, or quite simply, they're going to have, you know, this material on hand when they're doing a job. All the way from people, you know, in a very large job where it was determined, wait a minute, all these push-pull doors that you ordered, they all need to latch because they're fire doors. Then you have to have label service done, meaning someone's going to prep this material properly. You're not going to use this in a fire-rated scenario because it's not UL listed. But the concept is, whatever the reason is that you need to add a lock, and let's back up. You would not, this is not UL listed, so you could not, it would be, to be technical about it, it would render the fire rating of the opening as void, because this has never been tested in a fire event. Would it work? Could, might, who knows? It's not been tested. That's the problem. None of this has been tested. So be mindful of that. But whatever the application is, you've got one door or you've got 20 doors or 100 doors to do. They all need to have, you know, some sort of prep. Here's a more realistic example. A park district. They always have small structures with bathrooms in them. Those doors are usually push-pull, but they need to have a deadbolt. And that deadbolt's generally what we call a classroom-style deadbolt, where you can lock and unlock it from the outside with a key, but from the inside you can only retract the bolt, you can't throw it. So that's generally how those are. The doors might show up, push and pull, no deadbolt preps, but the frames are prepped. So yeah, this could work. I would not want to pop rivet that in that application, but that concept is what it is. Okay. Any questions on the LMB-01 Major mounting bracket or any other Major product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.